I rest my case there because I'm really surprised that you're saying you have never recorded a statement.
I have never recorded a statement.
That is information that I really wanted to know.
Yeah.
Secondly, now my other question is, now you are going to the position of Cabinet Secretary of Cooperatives.
If confirmed.
If confirmed by this committee.
Yes.
And your profession, as you have said, is accounting, which is much in relation with that work. There is the SME, micro and small medium enterprises, which is the backbone of this economy. That is the group that drives this economy. What do you think, what measures will you put in place to make sure that these SMEs survive the current economic situation that is going on in this country of high interest rates and other things? Secondly, the famous, and unfortunately me and you are on the same line, before elections and after elections, until now we are found together in this place. How will you handle Hustler Fund? It's in that ministry. What do you think you will do? And you know the way we oppose it very well, me and you, on the streets.
Chair, maybe before he answers that, in relation to the question Junet asked, the investigations by EACC, you say you have never recorded a statement, okay? Are you aware if any of your former colleagues or staff at the county government of Kakamega have recorded any statements with EACC? And lastly, has the Office of the ODPP, Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, ever contacted you in relation to this matter or prosecuted you?
I only know if any member of Kakamega County recorded a statement, because I'm no longer a governor. So I only know the movement of staff from Kakamega to here and back. So that one, I will not commit myself that I know. However, I know one of my colleagues who was called to record a statement.
Chairman, on the same, just briefly on the EACC, have you ever been to EACC offices, the headquarters here?
Yes.
In October?
Yes.
Did you, what did you go to do there?
I had gone to collect my phones because they had taken my phones of my children. My children were crying, they want their phones. So I followed them to go and collect the phones. And when I went there, they kept me waiting. They were saying they were scanning the phones. And later, after some 2-3 hours, they returned me the phone. That's what took me there.
So while there, you did not write any statement?
I didn't write any statement.
Did you get your phones back?
I got my phones back, except the computer.
And the ODPP has never contacted you that you're supposed to be charged for any offense, or you're supposed to be taken to court?
He has never contacted me. The first time that I was contacted was early this month, around 8th, 9th there, when my lawyer told me that he had received a letter from the DPP that I have no case to answer, according to him.
Let's have, yes.
Yeah, you talked
the Hustler Fund
and
your previous pronouncements against it. Now that you are going to be the line minister, I think that's what you have been asked.
I know I was among the people who are opposed about the Hustler Fund. And I had not known the facts about the Hustler Fund until now. I've been briefed about the Hustler Fund. I think this fund, if well managed, is a fund that will take our people from poverty. The only problem through my briefing, the only problem is that this fund was launched in a hurry without proper legal structures in place. And in the process, the Treasury allocated 13 billion Kenya shillings. From those 13 billion, because of borrowing again and again, that figure has gone the turnover has gone to 55 billion.
From 13?
From 13. And out of that 55 billion, 21 million people have been involved in the repeating borrowing. In the process, they have been able to recover 45 billion. 43 billion, sorry.
It's a revolving fund.
It's a revolving fund. So in the process, there is 12 billion, which has not been recovered. But they have there is a very strong infrastructure, digital infrastructure, that they are able to determine where the 12 billion is, who has the 12 billion. The only problem is that there is no legal framework to recover that particular amount. You know, Fulisa is when you take Fulisa, when you load your phone, then the money is recovered automatically. But the digital infrastructure they have does not do that. It waits until the 2 weeks.
If you find favor and you are confirmed, I have not been asking questions, but just a follow-up until the end. If you are confirmed to take up this docket, what will you do then to have a better system to manage this fund and avoid leakages and losses?
First thing I should admit here that the intention was very good, because this fund was supposed to address market failures at the lowest level, lowest pyramid. That person, even leave Mama Mboga, leave Boda Boda, the person below, even those people, the person who could not even afford 500 shillings. So it was supposed to address that. You borrow the money, and then you repay. When you repay, you get a credit score. So after that, then if you have borrowed like 500, you have refunded. You can now borrow 1,000 and you refund. In that process, your score improves. So you can continue borrowing until those who are borrowing properly, now they can borrow up to 1 million shillings. So the intention was good, but unfortunately, there was no legal framework. So if you approved my nomination, the first thing I will do is to make sure that there is a proper legal framework. There is a board has just been put in, but there is no even staff. So to ensure that there is staff that will manage this particular fund properly, because this fund, the goodness is that when you borrow, 30% of the money you borrow goes to savings. So it encourages savings. And at the moment, even the savings now have reached about 3.1 billion. And savings are very critical. It has also the element of retirement benefit. They have even now put there a benefit of health care. So if well managed, Mr. Chairman, this is a very useful fund.
I will take a cohort of 3. Naisula, I believe the first one was a point of order.
Oh, yes, it was.
Yeah?
It's because it was in the public knowledge that he went to EACC in October. So let me ask the question. Yeah.
Naisula, Koech, and Kosing in that order. In fact, let's go up to Kikaria.
Okay. So, Honorable
So you take
Oparanya,
note, then you'll answer them in a sequence.
Honorable Oparanya, just speaking from you, what you've talked about the Hustlers Fund, as it is now, or as it was, we used to have the Women Enterprise Fund, the Youth Fund, Uwezo. And I'm actually very keen on the Women Enterprise Fund. When we move the women, and you know there are rural women who don't even know how to use these gadgets. There are some who don't even have smartphones. But the kind of business that they're doing, Uko Mashinani, they really need this fund. And as an MP, because we oversight these funds and we are also patrons, we've been giving them a lot of loans. But now you're moving them to a digital space. You've not done, not you, but I mean, we have not done enough sensitization. It is really limiting. I'd like to pick your mind on that. And then there is very little is known about the Micro and Small Enterprise Authority. It's called MSEA, which is domiciled in the ministry headquarters. They have a ready clientele of more than 7 million the small, medium and small enterprises. What measures can you put in place to ensure that the authority is well resourced so that it becomes more vibrant and more visible? They might be doing a lot, but rarely will their work be profiled. And lastly, what plans do you have, if approved and confirmed by the National Assembly, to reach the unreached in terms of cooperatives? You know, some people think that cooperatives is a monster somewhere. And many Kenyans, especially in the rural and interior parts of this country, have no idea about cooperatives and what it does. I have a text message from a Kenyan who says, I don't want to ask later something from Kenyans, who says that when you were COG chair in 2019, nurses went on strike for 2 weeks and their salaries and statutory deductions and loans were never paid to date. They're asking, they didn't see leadership then when you were chair COG. They're asking whether you find yourself suitable to come again back into leadership.
Coach?
Nominee, mine is straightforward. How will you address the issue of punitive practices by digital lenders towards MSMEs? Considering,
Come again.
How will you address the issue of punitive practices by digital lenders towards MSMEs, considering that while these lenders provide accessible collateral-free loans, they often charge exorbitant interest rates and lead to debt distress. Number two, on a lighter note, Honorable Speaker, is to commend the nominee for his good taste. Recently, it's been a media sensation, and I applaud his good taste on nice things.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You don't have to answer that. Deal with his first question. Yeah. The next member for Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Goy should have elaborated what are good things or nice things. Honorable Chair, Speaker, to the nominee, these cooperatives is a very good idea. Of course, it started a long time ago. But these cooperatives are only centered around metropolis or towns or Nairobi, and maybe to few products like milk, little bit milk, but mainly coffee, you know. And the bulk of the population, Honorable Speaker, is in the rural. 70%, 80% of this country is rural. So, Honorable Oparanya, should we get the favor of Parliament, how will these cooperatives, reach our people now where the population is? And number two, and lastly, Hustler Fund. Don't you think, Honorable Oparanya, through the Speaker, is good time to evaluate the distribution of this Hustler Fund, whether they can be linked to M-Pesa services or bank services, so that then when people borrow, it is easier to follow and be able to recover. Thank you, Chair.
Gikaria. Honorable Gikaria.
Thank you, Chairman. To the nominee, the constituency industrial development centers. These were key elements that were going to boost productivity and employment. A better business environment and enhance enterprise skills. Given the budget constraints that have hindered the implementation, what measures will you take to ensure that the ICDCs effectively create employment opportunities and support the SMSEs in the constituencies? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Nominee, you can answer those.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Speaker of the National Assembly. You asked about the Women Enterprise Fund, that it has now been digitalized. What I would say is that at the moment, I will not know what they have done on that fund. Until now, I move in to see. But since you have now raised this question, it's one of the issues that I have to look into. But as you know, the world is now going digital. So the only thing that you can do to these women as a member of parliament, I think, is to sensitize them, let them have the smartphones, and there are organizations that can support in that area. I know because I have done that in my own county with the CHVs. They have been supported with the smartphones, and they are able to transact. But I have said I will have to check. Now, the MCs.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming?
Yeah, to the nominee.
Yeah.
You know, the Women Enterprise Fund, that money we used to give to Mama Bogas. And those women, they don't know how to use those smartphones you are talking about. And like Nyeri County, Karatina, the women had taken up to 1 million shillings. Now, when they were told again...
Each or collectively?
Collectively. Each group, because they normally take that money as per, in a group of women. Now, when you say that, now again we tell those women to go back and then now start doing those applications through the mobile phone, I don't think that is going to work. And that is why even we were trying to approach His Excellency, because we were feeling those women who had already had a business of 1 million, and here you are being told now to go back and apply for 50,000. I don't think that is doable. Thank you.
Lastly, a comment on that, Chairman. And in my view, I think what we are saying is that yes, we need to move with technology, but can it be gradual? And can it be well thought out in implementing the policies?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hear you. And not everything is cast in stone. You have raised this issue, and if I go to the ministry, I'm going to take it up seriously. You don't need the president to be involved in such an issue. I think I can deal with it appropriately, because the president has more pressing issues than talking about women phones. Talking about women phones.
Honorable Speaker, let him apologize. Women are the pillars of this country.
No, I've said...
He's answering an isolated question. He's not talking order. He's not talking about women generally.
I have answered
specific to your question.
The president should not be talking about phones.
To protect the nominee.
Yeah.
He had not finished what he was saying. He just said women, and because I'm close to him, he said women and their phones.
Yeah, yes. I was
Rahab,
Chairman.
Don't be oversensitive.
Chairman, I wanted to tell Rahab that we should leave the president to more pressing issues that affect the country. These issues of women with the phones, this one I can deal with them if you give me a chance. Yeah, why are you nominating me if I cannot deal with such issues? I can deal with it effectively.
To the next.
Yeah.
Yes, Junet.
Yeah, I agree with him, but is the nominee insinuating that the gender docket also can be added to here, or what?
That is with a light touch. Go on, answer the other questions.
Now, the SMEs authority, there is an authority act. And as I have said earlier, these SMEs were scattered in various ministries. You could find some intervention in the Ministry of Youth, some intervention in the Ministry of Trade and Industrialization, some intervention in the Ministry of Water, etc. This is the first time that the President has thought it wise to put them into one ministry. And because now they are in one ministry, the authority is now going to effectively to deal with them. And this is these are self-financing institutions. They finance themselves. Mr. Speaker, what the ministry does is to provide, to make sure that they are formalized, they are properly registered. The ministry helps them to register or to formalize themselves from informal to formal. And then to ensure that they get licenses, to train them so that there is financial literacy, they know how to handle finances, but we do not allocate money for them because they are supposed to get money from financial institutions or from the funds that are created, WESO Fund, Women Fund, or the Hustler Fund. In terms of cooperatives, cooperatives is one of the oldest institutions in this country. Cooperatives in this country started in 1908. It started in Lumbwa there, and it was a dairy cooperative which came up to be the present KCC. So cooperatives are also self-financing. They raise money by themselves. What we do, what the ministry does, is to make sure that cooperatives operate transparently, they are accountable to the members, so the ministry oversees them to make sure that those mandates they are formed for are being achieved. That's what it does. We also help them to access cheap funds, either from these other funds that are there, like the Hustler Fund. We help them also provide OTC services, but they have had a problem, management problems, and that's why most of them have collapsed. At the moment, we have 30,000 registered cooperatives, but only out of that 30,000, only 10,000 are active. And at the moment, Mr. Chairman, to show that this particular sector is very important for this country, they have those 30,000 that are there registered, they have an asset base of 1.7 billion Kenya shillings, which is nearly a half of the Kenyan budget. And from there, from that amount, they have been able to lend out to members 1.1 billion. And from that money, they have been able to save 1 billion, which is 30% of the total things in this country. So this movement of cooperatives is very important, and I will encourage members of parliament who are here that this is the time, if you give me a chance to serve in this ministry, I must involve you so that we are able to register more people in the cooperative, because this is the only way that will save this country. And that's why now cooperatives have become a pillar for micro and small enterprises. The cooperative is the base, and the SMEs are the pillar, because the SMEs are able to borrow from cooperatives for their either if they are for their personal development or for the development of the SME in question. Issues of punitive lenders as raised by Honorable Kuhej, this is known, it is there, and this is one of the factors that have made most of the cooperative collapse, because they access very expensive loans. They are not able to service those loans. Majority of them have collapsed because of the loans and because of course, mismanagement. And that's why the ministry is taking precautions to ensure that these cooperatives now come together and form a central liquidity facility where they all put their money, and if they want to borrow, then they will go and borrow in that central liquidity.
Isn't that why the
facility.
cooperative bank was set up?
Yes. No, cooperative bank operates as a commercial bank at the moment. Why cooperative bank is owned by the cooperative movement, 65% of the shares, but it operates under the Banking Act. It operates under the Banking Act. So it is not treated as a cooperative as such. So it is out of that. But Chairman, because it is owned by the cooperative, it supports cooperative movements on many other issues. Now, Honorable Singh raised the issue of cooperatives are only in towns. I can assure you that cooperatives are everywhere. Now, you have to, actually cooperative, even the mamambokas come together, the table banking, that is part of actually cooperation. That is what graduates to be a big cooperative. But that kind of collaboration, whether in whichever village, and you will find this cooperation is everywhere, even in small villages. But what I think you are saying, you are thinking of a formal big cooperative. I can assure you that if you give me, you are able to vet me and you give me this chance, I will come to your constituency, West Pokot South, isn't it? And that's where I was born. And I will help you form cooperatives in that particular region. I will sensitize the people there so that they are able to form cooperatives. You have talked of Hustler Fund. Honourable members, I don't want to talk much about Hustler Fund. I've clearly committed myself that as I go to the ministry, I will look at the various issues, because a fund like that losing 12 billion in a short period, and this public money is an issue that as citizens of this country, we should get worried of. The idea is good, but the problem was the way that it was implemented. So the last question that I was asked is about constituency industrial development centers. At the moment, I think there was an attempt to have all these industrial centers in every constituency. At the moment, there are about 200 of them that are completed. These centers were meant to accommodate these small businesses, small and medium businesses, so that shared facilities are put in those centers. And people are, the Chuakalis are able to come there and use these common facilities. Because buying sometimes equipment for use, individual SME, is expensive. And that's why those industrial centers were built, that equipment could be put there, and the SMEs around will come there and share those particular equipment, which was a very good idea. And this started a long time ago, Mr. Chairman, when I was still member of parliament for Butere constituency, and unfortunately, even up to now, some of them has not been operationalized. And if this was used, obviously, this will create a lot of employment. If the government is able to give equipment and the people can come there and share this particular equipment. That was the essence of constituency industrial development centers.
The COG question.
The COG that people worked for 3 months, was that in my county or that was countrywide? Because what I know, I cannot say what was happening in other counties. Because health is devolved. The nurses work for a particular county. Within my own county, the nurses that time, they went on strike. And I met the union members. I asked them why they were going on strike. They said they were going on strike because they were sympathizing with their colleagues who are suffering somewhere in Kirinyaga. But I told them, heaven's sake, you are working for Kakamega County. Why do you sympathize with someone in Kirinyaga? So what I did, I went to court, and court told them to resume work because the excuse was not relevant for Kakamega County. So they never resumed work for 3 months. So I decided that I would not pay them because they were told to resume work and they never worked. So why would I have paid them? And they had not paid. They had not worked. So that's why up to now, by the time I was leaving the office, I had not paid them.
Point of order, Chair. It's about the constituency industrial. What you said, that is the status as it is. My question was, how is he going to, what effort is he going to make to revive them to meet that purpose that they were meant to serve? Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, this was just a shared service. These constituency industrial centers are under the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Industry. So that is the lead ministry. They are the owners. So we were just going in to get the share, to use them at the site. But for implementation, for allocation of resources, that is the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Industry. So I cannot clearly answer that question.
Amisi, Mukami, Mishi, and Sharia, we'll take those 4 in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to state that the nominee before us is well known to me as my former deputy party leader, very close friend coming from my region, and I have a very long relationship with him, but that one will not conflict my fair decision in this committee against his candidature. Just like Honorable Junet, we find ourselves in a situation whereby, in fact, for a while I thought we are in Azimio PG because we are always together, but now he's on the opposite side. We've been against this hustlers fund, the people who have believed, and you know what we have believed in for a long time. Well, some of us have a history of gone through a lot. We have saved, some of our lives have been saved by media, personalities on the street. So we believed so inherently in values and some principles that pertains governance of our country, resource, and also the offices that we occupy. From where I sit, we are in a capitalist nation, where the bourgeoisie, the ruling class, controls the factors of production, and the low class, the proletariat, you know, they're the workers, who now we are referring to as the hustlers. This is a system that has existed world over, historically. And the way you have solved the issues of the proletariat is not the way the hustler fund is want to solve it. Because we are solving the issue of proletariat by developing what is called social assistance to those who are unable to live the rest of the class. So that the bourgeoisie controls the economy, but the social class that is below, that is struggling, is done social assistance.
Amisi, you are making a speech. Ask a question.
It's a very pertinent area because it affects the majority of the Kenyans. So I want people to understand it, yeah? So I will think that the hustler fund can be transmitted into a social assistant rather than be used to
in terms of micro and small enterprise. Because when you come together as cooperatives, you are trying to come to the same level as bourgeoisies. You are combining forces. So is this some of the areas you think that when you get to the office, you are able to change? In some cases, you may not agree with the boss. And when you don't agree with the boss in that aspect of the things that we believed in as on our side as Azimio, that this needs to change. If you change, I think the system do not want to change. How will you survive in such a circumstances? Thank you.
Rahab.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. To the nominee, my concern is the coffee sherifad. The government has allocated about 6.7 billion to support the coffee farmers. Through the new Kenya Planters Cooperative Union, this initiative has encountered challenges such as low uptake farmers and limited funding releases. What strategies will you implement to enhance the effectiveness of this fund and ensure it is successful rollout to help the coffee farmers? Because majority don't understand, they don't even know how to go about it. The other question is about the new KCC. The new KCC is collapsing because of the poor management. And the government has been pumping a lot of money in Dadola, Nyandarua, Eldoret, Nyeri Kiganjo, but still the company is not able to sustain itself. Still, the other small dairy farmers, they are able to pay their farmers in time, but KCC, they normally take about 120 days for the farmers to get their money. What are you going to do? Thank you.
Ms. Shimbogo.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. Honorable Chairman, the nominee used to be my deputy party leader in the ODM, but today I'm here in the appointment committee and I'm being governed by the procedure and rules. My question will be on the succession plan in terms of cooperative movement. I know this has been marred by several challenges, be it governance, management, and so many other issues. I don't know what will be your plan to ensure at least succession plan can be smoothly, noting that you are sharing function between two levels of government, that is the county and the national government. My second question, Chairman, there have been some fraudulent financial organization coming up, like the pyramid, in different ways. And Kenyans are lured, they give a lot of money to deposit, thinking that they're going, they call so many words. Either they say you put a seed, then you'll harvest, I don't know what, in so many ways. What do you think you can propose in terms of legal framework or other mechanism which you're going to put in place so that you safeguard Kenyans from losing a lot of money from such fraudulent activities? The last one, it is the issue of Cusco, which is the umbrella body for the SACCOs. I know there have also been so many challenges and corruption cases, ranging from theft and other anomalies. What are you going to do if you are approved to ensure that this umbrella body, which carries all the SACCOs, can be doing its activities under a legal framework? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a question that I had posed to the former Minister for SMEs, and I think he left office before he could undertake it, Mheshimiwa Oparanya. The SME financial support services, its framework is not favorable to the Muslim population due to the interest component. If approved, would you consider reforms to mainstream the significant population that feel abandoned? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You can answer those four.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Junet Amisi has raised this issue of hustler fund, social assistance. As a government, the government definitely is a government for the people. The government that does not take care of its people is not a government, because this government is there voted by the people, and the government, when it comes in office, it has to take care of its people. So social assistance is very critical. But Mr. Chair, social assistance is not within the Ministry of Cooperatives and Micro and Small and Medium Enterprises. It's under the Ministry of Labor. So I think someone from Labor will be able to answer this question more effective than myself.
Actually, he answered when he appeared.
Yeah, it's there. But us...
But you can deal with his issue of now your poll moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
But us, as a ministry, we have taken these micro and small and medium enterprises as our core function. And we are undertaking all that we can to make sure that this particular, because this is where we can create employment in this country. Because this particular sector employs about 15 million people. The Kenyan government, the governments, counties, and the national government put together, they are able to only employ 1 million people. And there can never be an increase, more increase in that. So where our opportunity lies, it is in these micro and small enterprises. And that's why it has become a pillar under the national government. And I think, to me, the president made a very deliberate decision to make sure that SMEs becomes one of the pillars for the economic transformation of this country. So what we do is to create enabling environment. That is our responsibility. We do not fund them. We just train them, tell them, you must be formal, you must be registered, because sometimes they want government tenders, and they cannot do so when they are not properly registered, when they are not properly licensed, they have offices. So we help them, and then we sensitize them that if you get money through other avenues that we have created various funds, this is how you should manage these funds. What we call, we train them on financial literacy. The issue raised by Rahab on the coffee cherry fund, this has been an issue for many, many years in the coffee industry. The problem we have had, and the coffee industry is no different from the sugar industry, which is in my place there, that this government concerned, and if they are cooperatives, the sugar industry, the companies are mainly parastatals, or government has shares there. Because of mismanagement, they take this money and they do not pay the money back. So they become debts. The government has continually written off these debts. But for how long will the government keep on writing off this debt? You know, now there is scarce resources in this country. You can see what happened to the finance bill. There's no more money. I think the system that we have in the recovery of this money, because this is the money that is advanced to the farmers when they sell their coffee. as they wait the money to be paid back through the agents. So sometimes the agents get this money, but they do not remit the money where it is supposed to remit. So it's also a management problem. So we must fix this management problem first to make sure that if these funds are advanced to the farmer, how do they come back? They advance the farmer, the agent gets the money, the agent sometimes gives the money halfway. So we must change that system. And we have been talking about cherry fund year in, year out. And I remember the other day the president said that there will be a write-off. But how long will this happen? We must go in and solve this problem. Rahab, I can assure you through KPCU, because this is the major culprit, that we will look into this issue. In the same way with the new KCC. KCC was a very vibrant institution, a vibrant dairy cooperative. But now it is collapsing. It collapsed first time. They changed the name from KCC to new KCC. Government has pumped in money. The other day they were given 600 million. It is again collapsing. Now maybe we'll change another name, new KCC. So this is a problem that we are having in cooperatives, and one of the issues is management. Management is a problem in cooperatives, but I would expect KCC, being a big company, it will have a proper structure that will be able to detect early enough any mismanagement in their financial system. They have not been paying farmers, but when I was nominated, I've actually been sending feelers, and I can tell you that farmers now have been paid up to June of this month. They only are owed dues in the month of July. The succession plan in cooperative, as raised by Honorable Mishimbogo, is critical. As a ministry, we must come out with a criteria of how the officials of cooperatives should, one, be elected, those who are on the committee, and even the appointment. Someone is elected to be a chairman, and is a chairman for 30 years, until he goes to the grave. And actually, if he stands for election, he wins. It is like the labor movement. When you are there until you go to the grave. So as a government, we must find out what is the problem. And I was thinking very seriously that why can't we create limits? If me, I've served as a governor for 10 years, that was my limit, and as you can see, I'm still very strong. I will be still the governor of Kakamega County this moment. And in fact, I would have gone in and opposed. But because now there was a term limit, I think this term limit should also extend to...
We advised your colleague in sports that the same thing obtains there.
Yeah.
People hold offices in perpetuity.
In perpetuity, yeah.
So tell us, if you find favor, what are you going to do to manage, introduce, and have succession plans in these cooperatives?
Yeah, Chairman, thank you very much. You see, like banks, even sometimes, if you are managing director, you are also allowed to be a managing director for a particular period. You cannot be there forever. And that's what I'm saying, Mr. Chairman, that one of the things, if given a chance, I'm thinking is to create a term limit for even board members, and even if you are CEO. So if it's 3 years contract, you renew once and then you disappear. If you are on the board, you also serve a board for a particular period. even if you are very good, we say that goodness of yours, take it also elsewhere, so that those people can enjoy that. So that's what I'm going to do. She also talked about shared functions between national and county government. I can tell you that according to the Constitution, cooperatives function is a function of the county governments. But it has created a challenge because there are cooperatives that operate beyond boundaries of constituencies. How do you deal with them? Because the counties can have their own legislation to regulate cooperatives in their area. And they have a right to do so. But what about if cooperatives operate beyond? Like in Western, we have the IG, Invest and Grow. You go in every county in that region, they have offices. How do you deal with them? If Kakamega has a different cooperative legislation, Vihiga has a different one, so how will which law will it subscribe to? So we are saying that those cooperatives that operate beyond their own boundaries should then be controlled by the national government. And that, even that's what we did in roads when I was the governor for Kakamega. We agreed roads that go beyond county boundaries should belong to the national government. And that's what I feel. There is already discussions between county government and the Ministry of Cooperative on how this issue is going to be dealt. As soon as it's dealt with, I will be able to advise you, Honorable Mishimboko. The issue of pyramids, they say that you plant money and you get money. Obviously, Kenyans are conned. And what they do, they give you, they say plant 100, plant 1,000, you come, you get 2,000. So they lure you. As you put in, when you put 20,000, then they disappear. That's why we are coming up with these funds. And sensitize people that before you borrow any money from someone, or someone says there's a pyramid sort of thing, please check with the officers there that is such an institution registered. That's why the government is there to protect its own people by making sure that people are not conned. So go to institutions that you are sure these institutions have offices. The pyramid fellows usually don't have offices. They have offices where you can go and complain, and that they are registered. I don't think, as a government, we can come up with a legal framework to legalize things like pyramid schemes. We will be making a mistake, we will be making a serious mistake, and our people will continue to be conned. Cusco, like KCC, is also new. There was Cusco, the original one, which is under receivership. And now there is new Cusco, which is struggling. So if we decide to put it under receivership also, we will have another new Cusco. We cannot continue like this, because Cusco is an umbrella body of all cooperatives. All cooperatives have put there all the money. But as I talk to you, Honorable Speaker, Cusco has lost about 10 billion of public money because of corrupt practices. And as a government, we must come in strongly that those people who embezzled funds from Cusco are dealt with, because these people are known. the board was suspended. And we cannot just sit back because people have lost employment. We must follow up and see that this money is recovered. And this is the work that EACC can help us instead of following a squirrel in the name of Liquidity for Oparanya. This is the elephant in the house where 10 billion has been lost. And they can't go for this because they want publicity that now this is the big fish. But where the money has gone, the small fish are there. And there has also been a struggle where the board of Cusco wanted to be registered as a private company so that they also escape. Now they come out of government control. We are saying this cannot happen until this money, which has been stolen from the people, is accounted for. That is what happened with KFA. You remember KFA was a giant company in Nakuru when it was under cooperative movement. It went under private company. As a private company, it was now changed from cooperative to private company. Now it has become a very small.
It became KGGCU.
Yeah. So this is the escape. They use this as an escape, actually, to embezzle money. But now Cusco, new Cusco, we are going to make sure, this is, when I'm given a chance, this is my first assignment, to see that I focus, because this is a very important organization. But as a ministry, we are proposing that because people have lost their money, we want to introduce also deposit protection fund, like the way it is in banks, or deposit guarantee fund, so that when institutions actually collapse, and it is confirmed that they collapse properly, then members of that particular institution have at least something to fall to.
How does an institution collapse properly?
Yeah?
How does an institution collapse properly?
Because maybe it has taken an overdraft, and because of other issues that come up, because also an institution can, because of changing environment, you know, the institution that if a business environment changes, they do not change quickly. So they are caught up because they are stuck to the old ways of doing things. And it collapses. That's what I'm saying, that it has collapsed, but in the right way, because the management looked innocent. There were changes in the environment, but they never changed. But we are now going to come up with a proper framework to see that the members' money is not lost in cooperatives. And then the last one, this is an issue that even one or two people who met me in the street asked me about the same question. And I'm happy that the Member of Parliament have asked this. And when I was getting, I was being briefed about Hustler Fund. I said that we must also have a product that will be in line with the Sharia laws. There must be a product. We want every Kenyan to feel that this country is theirs. So don't worry, we shall come up with the products that will favor the Muslim community. If I don't do it, please, I've committed myself in front of you that that is now my assignment.
Yes, now let's have Honorable Raso, Mule, Robert, and Owen, in that order.
Thank you very much.
One question each.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Yeah, I think I'll just raise one question. Honorable Oparanya, you are the Minister for Planning in the Kibaki administration. And